to reconvene. Thank you for everybody being back on time. While you're all here, the staff have a whole lot of papers to give to you in terms of the hard copies of all submissions. So if you could please pick them up from Carol's office. Does anybody not know where Carol's office now is? So down the corridor, second on right, third on right, but yeah, go through the squiggle of the corridor and then on the right. Oh, it's been told it's a bigger office than mine. We'll have to cut it down.
It's probably a bit brighter.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But anyway, there's 4 parts. So
4 parts of your office.
4 parts to the submissions. So it is quite a wallpaper. So we'd really appreciate you picking them up so we don't have to try and them out to you. So yeah, they're all there.
The Mayor's office in Hastings, if any of you have been to it, it's bigger than this room.
Must have an awfully big naughty corner.
Showers and toilets, yeah, that's right, and Rolls Royce, bigger than MP's office. Greta, are you online?
Yes, I am.
Thank you, Greta.
Oh, hang on. Let's have a video. No, you don't want to see me, do you?
Well, we don't have to see you, but Greta, thank you very much for your submission to the long-term plan. Councillors, at supplementary paper 2, page 26. Excuse me, Greta. Greta, you've been through this process before. You sort of know the rules around it. You have 10 minutes to speak, including question time that councillors may ask of you. We have one councillor apology today for that councillor to sit in on deliberation. They must be able to assure me that they have listened to the full recordings from today. Any questions about process?
No.
Well, Greta, thank you very much. The time is yours.
Oh, good, and there's a clock on the wall. Right. Kia ora koutou katoa. I'm going to pinch your saying. He oranga whenua, he oranga tangata, he oranga wairua, ti he Māori ora. If the land is cared for, if our people are looked after, if the spirit is strong, yes, here I am. Hello. Right, my name's Greta Mills. For those who don't know me, I'm a resident of Marton since 1977. For the last 24 years, I've owned ICNZ Limited, a local and national education and training business. It's also registered as and accredited as a private training establishment with the New Zealand Qualifications Authority. My husband, Jeff Mills, operates his business, Watermark Training and Consultancy, as a division of ICNZ. We've successfully raised 3 sons, now adult, and one of them now lives in and works in Marton. We have a small forestry interest in the Turakina Valley. Right, I'd like to start, or first apologise if my voice goes croaky. It's because I've been sick this week and I've got problems with, breathing and things. So I'd like to congratulate the council for their unanimously agreeing to take the advice of Te Raupa Hika and other ratepayers to vote for Māori wards. Well done.
Thank you.
Right. I'd also like to urgently encourage this council to look for equity for women in all proposals and decisions made for our communities. Women comprise 50% of our population, and they do not have 50% of input into decision-making processes, economy, or decision-making. And I'll just flag that the United Nations is aiming for 50-50 representation of men and women, which is not at all unreasonable, by 2030. That's 9 years away. So use your powers wisely to ensure equitable outcomes for all. the disadvantaged, women, Māori, whoever lives in our community. Okay. I think at that point, I've got 3 submissions here to the LTP, to the draft Significance Engagement Policy 2021, and to the draft Revenue and Financing Policy 2021. So if anyone would like to ask me a question, go ahead.
Thank you. So Greta, from that I take that we take your submission as read and you're opening it up for questions?
Yes.
Questions from councillors? I know councillors have read your submission. There was a question in your submission around economic development, around that. Would you like to make any further comment?
What in particular?
Well, you're saying that it should not be increased, but you go on a little bit further than that, and you were saying existing work money should be used, etc. But you're also saying that it should be a function of Project Marton. Realising that we fund Project Marton, should we fund them to do that work?
Oh, no, what I'm saying is you're saying that you're going to spend time over the next few years finding out about our local businesses and what's happening in our community. And I understood that that was a role, I would have thought an essential role of council. I mean, when I was doing some postgraduate study years ago, I worked for Stats New Zealand and found all sorts of information about businesses in New Zealand. I found out all the farming and the different types of farming, and it wasn't that hard to find with some assistance from Stats New Zealand. So why is that database not available and being updated regularly?
Okay, thank you. Any further questions from councillors?
Yes, Your Worship, if I may.
Councillor Wilson.
Yep. Hi, Greta, Dave Wilson.
Okay.
Just with your comment around the us joining in the LGFA, and you make us a comment there that we should learn to live within our means and not indebt us with more than $20 million in debts. Is there anything more into that comment? I mean, we have significant projects on the go and they require to be funded. So
we are a very small council. We have significant basic needs of water, housing, safety, roading to meet. I appreciate that the CEO and the team have large vision and long-term vision, and I appreciate that. But somewhere between these grand ideas, I mean, some of these strategies that are there are strategies that could apply to a city that's bigger than 50,000, you know, or more. But you've got to tailor, you've got a ratepayer base of 7,800 approximately, and we only get, what, 20 million? Plus we get some back from, which is also our money, back from national government. So to actually indebt us for huge ideas that may or may not happen in 30 years or 10, 30 years, you've got to be extremely careful. You know, it's not an endless bucket of money from ratepayers, and to indebt us further so that if something comes out of left field, like COVID or other things that turn up, it's ratepayers' money. It's not slush money for councillors to have great, fantastic ideas that are not realistic.
thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Gordon.
Thank you, Greta. Look, it's along a similar vein. Do you accept that using debt is a good way of funding intergenerational assets?
Yes, if they're carefully put as top priority and they are thoroughly investigated and they are equitable for all ratepayers. But I don't think some of these ideas are.
Thank you. Councillor? No, well, Greta, thank you very much for your submission. You'll be aware of the process. We will deliberate. We will come back and consider your response to your submission. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, the one issue, final issue I would like to say is I think the Three Waters project is a major, and a lot of that borrowing is for the Three Waters. It's unfortunate that my husband is actually working on the water, ironically on the water in the Cook Islands at present, because that is something that has been managed badly here, and you're expecting to borrow more money to do it, and in the process the government will probably actually take over that role from local councils. So yeah, that is one area where you have to be extremely careful. And I know my husband actually sent a letter to every councillor, the CEO, the mayor, and I think he might have had one automatic response from one councillor. He has had no acknowledgement whatsoever of his correspondence.
A question from me. Can you clarify that? Because neither the chief executive is looking at me to say he hasn't received it. I'm not sure that I have received that either.
Do not give me that answer. That was the answer the CEO gave last time my husband wrote to the council. He then wrote deliberately to the CEO, to all councillors separately, to the mayor separately, and very rudely he received no response.
What time was that, Greta?
Oh, sometime late November, early December last year.
Okay, thank you.
So anyway, I'll leave that with you, but
Thank you.
I just wonder, do communications, how much control do individual councillors have of their role?
Thank you. Well, thank you, Greta, for your submission. And
Thank you.
The next submission we have is from Federated Farmers. I welcome Tim. Tim, thank you for your submission. Councillors, this submission is held on page 18 or 17 in the